Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final 2020 edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Guys, 2020 has been a year. I'm very grateful for all of you who have joined me on this journey. I want to thank everyone who has listened or watched all my podcast conversations this year. That means a lot to me. I'm very appreciative of everyone. We've had people in to listen to this from the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Brazil, India, the Republic of Georgia, and so many more places around the world that listen to this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to give a special shout out to all of my guests that I've had on this podcast for this past year. I loved hearing about all of your stories, and it really means a lot to me that you took your time out of your schedules to talk with me and share your stories. Thank you so much. So I did a little digging and to find out who was the top viewed video podcast on my YouTube channel. So guys, if you go to my YouTube channel, Jacob Elyachar, you will find 7 different top podcasts that I did this year. They are my good friend Joss Mooney, who came on the podcast on July 12th, 2020 to talk about his experiences on Ex on the Beach UK and The Challenge, and also talked about his successful company, JM Transformations, and also Label. I want to give a big thank you to Collabro's Michael Auger and Matt Pagan, who came on the podcast December 3rd to talk about their new Christmas album, Christmas Is Here. It's a spectacular record. And I know a lot of collaborators were very excited to see us interact. And it was actually the first time in 5 years that I saw Matt and Michael in person and online. Because our first conversation was in 2015. I also want to thank Kathryn Dunn of the Conspire Away Bitches podcast, and she was also on Big Brother 21. She came on and talked with me on September 7th, 2020. I had so much fun talking with her. I loved her personality, and she is one amazing figure in the Big Brother community. I also want to say thank you so much for people who watched as I revealed my top 50 America's Got Talent acts of all time to commemorate America's Got Talent's 15th anniversary. I'm so glad. You may agree or disagree with my selections, but I wanted to recognize the people that made America's Got Talent the show it is, and all the successful people that have had careers because of that, because of the reality television show created by Simon Cowell and NBC and Fremantle. Among those people that were on the top 50 included Voices of Service. I want to thank so much all 4 of them for coming onto the podcast to talk about not just America's Got Talent, but also America's Got Talent, The Champions Season 2, where they blew people away with their cover of Kodaline's Brother, which they actually performed with them for a special virtual concert. It was great to hear their story. Also, a big shout out to Cristina Ray, the 3rd place for America's Got Talent this past season. She was absolutely phenomenal. And you could hear our conversation, and you can go back to the October 15th conversation and listen to that. We have a very special surprise inside that podcast, so you do not want to check it out. And also, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Kim Mattina, winner of Season 2 of Sequester, the televised version. And she was the very first person to come and do a video podcast with me. Kim, thank you so much for coming on and talking about Sequester with me, and also the mini Sequester, which actually put Big Brother Canada and Big Brother America faced off. It was go back to April 14th. If you missed that conversation, go back to April 14th on my YouTube channel. Also, we did have some incredible audio interviews, and I'm very grateful for all those people who came on to the podcast and listened. But my top ones were my special conversation with John Qualley, a.k.a. Prince Poppycock. It was 10 years since he'd been on America's Got Talent, and it was great hearing from him about the ups, the highs, and lows about his experience. It was for episode 40 on June 28th. Another person from AGT that made this list, but also won his season, was Brandon Leake. It was hours just after Terry Crews announced him the winner of season 15. It was the second special edition of 2020. And you can watch and you can listen to this podcast on September 24th. Paulie Calafiore is an incredible person when it comes to reality television. Thanks to his time on Big Brother, X on the Beach, and The Challenge. I'm so happy of what's been that he sat down with me for the first time for our audio interview. It was great to hear from him, and you can listen to that conversation on audio July 1st. That was episode 41. I also want to give a big shout out to Chris Swaggy C. Williams and Bailey Dayton for appearing on episode 27. It was 2 years that they appeared on, celebrated their appearance on Big Brother. And then also they talked about their time on The Challenge. In addition to that, it was one of the second to last interviews that Chris Swaggy C did before announcing that his retirement from reality television. It was also this one of the second to last interviews Bailey did before going inside the Big Brother house for Big Brother 22. And after she was evicted, she also announced her retirement from reality TV. I also want to give a special shout out to singer-songwriter Blake English. I really enjoyed talking with him. It was a great to have that connection, and he is one artist that you have to watch, people. You can catch that episode, which was episode 35. That was look under June 11th. It was published then. Also, I want to say, Rachel Riley, thank you so much for being the very first person to talk Big Brother 22 with me this season, and also talk about the Keisha's eviction and everything. So that was our very first special edition of 2020, and that you can listen to that episode on August 14th. So I want to say thank you so much, Rachel, and I'm so happy for you and Brendan as they've welcomed their second child. So hopefully I can talk to Rachel in the future. And lastly, I want to thank Cristina Bianco. She was on our very first 25th milestone episode. It was our 25th milestone episode from April 20th of this year. And she did so many impersonations that I was laughing my tail off. It was so funny, and I loved learning about her background. So, Chris, thank you so much, Cristina, and I cannot wait to see what you bring to 2021. And if you want to listen to all these audio editions, head to the Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker pages of Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Alrighty, so I also want to share what's happened on Jake's Take this year. We've had a lot of great articles, but however, one of my favorite segments is the end of the year, because I get to share my thoughts on some of my favorite things in music and reality television. So earlier this month, I revealed my top 20 songs from 2020. Well, they're not actually my top 20 songs, but they're actually my top songs of 2020. So they include, just for clarification purposes, but they include Adam Lambert and Nile Rodgers' Roses, Anna Graceman, Night Fellows, Brandon James featuring Shoshana Bean, Perfect Symphony, Britney Spears, Swimming in the Stars, Dolly Parton's When Life is Good Again, Father Dude's Billions, Kane Brown and John Legend's Last Time I Say Sorry, Monsta X's Middle of the Night, longtime Jake's Take friend Rents with Strawberry Blonde, Voices Services' spectacular cover of Kodaline's Brother, and finally, The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. Now, there's more songs on my playlist, so if you want to listen to that whole playlist, head to Spotify and just type Jake's Takes. And just hear Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast and, Jake's Take's favorite songs of 2020 to check out the rest of their playlist. Also, for the first time here, I'm revealing my favorite albums of 2020. They are Ben Hazelwood's Bloodline, The Chicks' Gaslighter, Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia, John Legend's Bigger Love, Lady Gaga's Chromatica, Little Big Town's Nightfall, Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts, Ndolo Youth Choir with Rise, Ozzy Osbourne with Ordinary Man, Queen and Adam Lambert's Live Around the World, and finally Sam Smith with Love Goes. Oh, oops, I forgot The Weeknd After Hours, which, by the way, Grammys, what the heck are you thinking? Not honoring The Weeknd with that impeccable album? Boy, that's just crazy. Anyway, I'm moving on. I want to share with you my top 20 reality television TV performances 2020. Just the first half. So number 20 is John Courtney's phenomenal self-autobiographical audition song that he sang on Britain's Got Talent this year that received an Index Golden Buzzer. It was phenomenal. Number 19 is a good friend of mine, Hans, with Let's Get Loud from AGT Champion Season 2. In Season 18, I don't know if anyone could top Bonavega's Overdrive. One of the best auditions I have ever seen in America's Got Talent history. It was so wild from the moment he took off his robe to the time that Howie Mandel and Heidi Klum gave him a standing ovation. One of the most wildest auditions I have ever seen. Number 17, we're going to the Masked Singer territory, and it was Astronaut's beautiful cover of Story of My Life from Masked Singer Season 3, and Astronaut turned out to be Hunter Haynes. We're heading to Australia for number 16. It's Chris Sebastian with Before You Go from Season 9 of Voice Australia, and this is the most interesting thing, guys. Chris competed on The Voice before Season 1, but returned as an all-star for Season 9, and his brother, Guy Sebastian, who is Australian Idol's first winner, and he's actually this male equivalent of Kelly Clarkson. He's actually a coach on the show. So, however, Chris won under Kelly Rowland's tutelage. Moving on, at number 15 is Father Dude with Billions. And then Anna Graceman with Bones from Songland, both from Songland, but Anna, it's her second version of the song that she reworked with Shane McNally. And if you watch that video on Songland's YouTube channel, you can see baby Rexa wailing with delight because she really liked that song. Episode number 13 was Voices of Our City Choir. They were Terry Crews's Golden Buzzer act for America's Got Talent Season 15, and their moving rendition of Heroes was powerful. Speaking of powerful, number 12, Archie Williams' Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me from Season 15 of AGT. Still moved me to tears, and it was actually, in that video right now, last time I checked, was 11 million views on YouTube, which is amazing. Rounding up this portion of our countdown is the Sun, Leanne Rimes, when she sang Billie Eilish, When the Party's Over on Season 4 of The Masked Singer. I think because of that performance, that catapulted her to win that season. I was so happy that Leanne won. Now, if you want to know my top 10, head to jakestake.com to check out my top 10 performances of 2020. I want to make an announcement with this podcast. 10 years ago, I started my blog, jakestake.com, in August. I never knew that this was going to be the case, where I had the incredible opportunity to be on telelines with fellow reporters, where we got to wait to ask questions to Dolly Parton, Cyndi Lauper, and Elaine Kenny Rogers. I also enjoyed building up friendships with people like Drew Manning and Scott Herman and Collabro, and as I interviewed them and seen them grow leaps and bounds since the last time I spoke. But I've been working on something very special for 2021, and it's the newest chapter in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar legacy. But before I reveal that to you, I want to give thanks to 4 people that I've traded ideas back and forth with and have advised me about entering this phase. They are my dear friend Adam Tank, who's an entrepreneur and a water specialist, 2-time guest, and also one of the best challenge video creators I've met, Drew Angelman of Angel Cake Entertainment. One of my dearest friends from New York City, Nick Raffin. He was a financial advisor and also the founder of the Raffin Group. And finally, Scott Yeager, the co-host of the Challenge Mania podcast. So speaking of podcasts, it's about time that the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast heads to Patreon. Starting in January, the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar brand will launch our Patreon channel. Now, there are 3 levels of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar brand. There are listener levels, associate producers, and executive producers. I will be giving you guys exclusive content for patron-only content, including a chance to have Zoom meetings, community. So we need to build this community, and I want to build this community to be a positive role model in reality TV and also entertainment news crew world. I want to be able to have a group of people from all walks of life and share about our passions, no matter if it's our favorite shows like America's Got Talent or The Masked Singer, or talk about up-and-coming artists, or also build a community because we need each other going forward. And I would love to get to know each and every one of you. And in fact, one of my things that's happening with this is that I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to co-host with me on 2 of my 2 new podcasts that's exclusive. So the Masked Singer USA podcast, recap podcast, and finally the America's Got Talent recap podcast. More details of that will be coming forward, but I want to have a chance to sit down with people who are passionate about those shows as I am. So I really hope and then also everyone is going to be highlighted on the Meet the Community podcast because we're all a community and we all need to support each other. And the Meet the Community podcast will allow all executive producers, listeners, and associate producers the chance to interact with each other, and who knows, have a chance to sit down with me for an interview. Alrighty, guys, you can find that link on patreon.com/ once you go to Patreon, just type in patreon.com/Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, all one word. It's JAKESTAKE with Jacob, JACOB I'm very thrilled and very excited about this new chapter, and I cannot wait for all of you to join me on my journey as I enter the next 10 years of my career. Alrighty, guys, before I let you go, I have some announcements coming. In addition to Patreon, I've already recorded 7 different interviews for jakestake.com and for the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast. They are with singer-songwriter Anissa, Josh Olson, who was formerly a contestant on the X Factor USA, Heather Yeomans, who was a contestant on I Can See Your Voice. She was actually the tap dancer. Also, we do have Adele Pomernicki, who's an actress and singer. Actually, actress and dancer. My bad. And also, we have Casey Yale, who's a phenomenal singer-rapper. Nick Topple, who's a rising fitness entrepreneur and also a huge Instagram following that you need to keep an eye on. And finally, we have Eric Fellows from The Bay and Days of Our Lives. And I've been working very hard trying to secure more interviews for 2021. Now, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to come and listen to this podcast. To download more episodes of Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Once again, just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media as well. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on YouTube. Just type in Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And finally, to visit the site where it all started, it's jakes-take.com for more articles, more interviews, and for reviews. Guys, thank you so much for supporting me this 2020. And thank you so much for all that you have done. I really hope that every one of you is safe and sound in this crazy world. And I hope that you and your families are well. And may we all have a better 2021. Have a great one, everybody, and I'll see you next year.